The year is 1940. The German soldier stands before all mankind, confident of his own power to destroy and conquer. And an already harassed Europe wonders, where next will Hitler's legion strike? The answer comes quickly enough. 150 Nazi divisions received the call to hurl their might on Western Europe. The war pictures you're about to see were originally used in a typical crazy quilt patchwork of Nazi film propaganda. They've been redesigned to show you only the essential machinery and manpower that gave Hitler victory in the West, the operations, and the whys and wherefores of Nazi military strategy. May 10th, 1940. Germany's air arm, better known as the Luftwaffe, blazes the trail for the opening attacks on Holland, Belgium, and tiny, undefended Luxembourg. Germany boasted upwards of 3,000 planes, ready to rain untold horror upon all that spread out below their wings. Ready, too, for the mass landing of parachute assault forces, the airborne soldier making his debut on a large scale. In Holland, the Dutch report the destruction of great numbers of these parachute troops. But the operation is sufficiently successful to capture airfields at Rotterdam and other important cities, and to generally clear the way for a lightning German advance. And on the ground, other troops move across the borderline, separating Germany from the Low Countries. The attacks come at dawn, without warning. Germany had only hours before pledged non-aggression. But the stab in the back was fast being popularized by Hitler. Here, it was to leave its ugliest mark. Against Holland's small army, Hitler sent large contingents, vastly superior in training and equipment. A country about the size of Maryland affords a new test tube for the accelerated Nazi warfare. The Dutch have set up a staunch line of hidden defenses, hoping to hold off the Nazis until help arrives from British and French allies. But there's no halting Hitler's well-planned march across the peaceful land of the Zuider Zee. Engagements are brief, decisive, as the German soldier moves into town after town. A glimpse of typical street fighting is now shown. Operating in small groups and knowing how to take cover, the Germans keep casualties down to a minimum. Victories along the sidewalk and gutter fronts in Holland prove as important as battlefield triumphs for the Nazis. They quickly consolidate each little position, destroying as they move along. Bridges had been mined by the Dutch, but the foul work of fifth columnists kept many of them from being blown up, thus aiding the swift thrust of Hitler's forces. Foot and motorized units pushed the invasion. The Nazi-made films show nothing of the Dutch side. The inspired, although futile attempts of Queen Wilhelmina's loyal soldiers to hold off the death messengers from Berlin. Through 4 brief and awful days, Holland feels the burning fury of the Blitzkrieg. The combination of ground and air attacks brings to a brave little land only the stillness of defeat. Finally, on May 14, 1940, the troops of the Netherlands are forced to lay down their arms. The announcement reads, to prevent further bloodshed and annihilation, Holland capitulates. In Belgium, Fort Eben-Emael becomes the scene of historic action, which forecasts the rapid setback of King Leopold's armies. At dusk, on the day of the outbreak of hostilities, engineer shock troops cross the Albert Canal. Other German units operating in the well-rehearsed raid have already captured important bridges, not only across the canal, but also the neighboring Meuse River. Eben-Emael is strongly garrisoned, with ample armament, but combined air and ground attacks drive a formidable wedge into the mass of concrete and steel. Flamethrowers prove their destructive worth. Then, a final explosive charge is set. Look closely. You'll see the Nazi soldier atop the fort. The fort surrenders. Hitler's combat engineers have given evidence that the impregnable fort of yesterday is today just another target for superior offensive weapons. As Hitler lines up his armies for new surprise movements, the strategy of the German High Command becomes evident. The purposes of this film are concerned more with the study of soldiers and fighting machinery rather than with the geography of the war in Western Europe. However, an outline of the plan of battle will help to better understand the tactics of these German legions. The many-pronged Nazi attack pushing westward across Holland and Belgium, down the Meuse River and across the Somme in northern France can best be explained as an encircling maneuver, the cutting off of an estimated 1.5 million Allied troops to effect a quick decision in what historians term the Battle of Flanders. German guns go into action on a wide front. French mechanized units feel the brunt of the killing blows struck in the first great clash of opposing military giants. The organized German attack rolls on. Their immediate objective is Sedan, considered a weak point in the French defenses, and a springboard to the pocketing of the 9th French Army. Tanks form the spearhead. 2,000 are used by the Germans at one time, and it's not uncommon for the French to be outnumbered by 10 tanks to 1. Overhead, the Luftwaffe is cooperating, peeling off to drop countless lethal charges. The mounting loss of precious fighting equipment further hampers the French in their efforts to counterattack the deepening German salient. And so, the Nazis rumble ever forward, trained and rehearsed for this task. It is well to notice how Hitler counts on overwhelming numbers to achieve his ends. Always there is a massing of attack forces, then a relentless, sustained drive to gain new positions. France's Maginot Line, fortifications 125 miles along the Franco-German border, and new extensions constructed after war was declared. Yet, by breaking through at some points and flanking other sectors, the Nazis gradually reduced the Maginot Line.